Good morning and welcome back to another video. Puppy, come on. Come on. It's been a little while since you've seen us. January was a little bit of a write-off for us. If you saw in our last video, Mauro ended up having emergency eye surgery at the end of 2023 and he's been face down in the bed since then, basically. How's life going for you at the moment?
I'm in pain.
So yeah, he's not been having a great time, but he's on the mend now and he is apparently allowed to do activities of an 80-year-old man. 80-year-old men around here, though, do seem to get outside quite a lot and work the land and do stuff like that, so maybe that's okay. We had a lot of wind last night. I've just come to inspect the damage, potential damage to these tanks that we've got up on the hill. Looks like we're good. That one's a bit ripped. Anyway, during that time I've just been trying to keep as many plates spinning as possible, which is not that many, just trying to keep all the animals and the baby fed, basically, and the house in some kind of a state of order. It's been quite hard. On top of being at least 10 hours a day in bed face down, which doesn't include the night, that was just an extra 10 hours during the day. Mauro also couldn't lift any weight, including the baby, anything at all. He couldn't put any strain on like his eye veins, capillaries. Couldn't put any strain on his eye at all, basically. So you can imagine I've had my hands pretty full. It's a miracle I'm filming anything, honestly. Una, what are you doing up there? Got some grouting, plumbing supplies. We've got some new chickens. Hello, ladies. Not hamsters, not canaries. One thing I've been doing lately on my walks with Santi is exploring nearby ruins. There are quite a lot of old abandoned houses and buildings in the hills near us, and sometimes I can see them in the distance and I'm not sure how to get there. There was this one ruin perched on the top of a hill near us, which I can see from our garden, and I always wanted to actually go and have a look at it, so this particular day I decided to set out and see if I could find it. It wasn't actually very far away at all, and it didn't take me long. I actually ended up following a trail of plastic bottles which must have fallen off the back of a vehicle, and they led me right up to the property. I really love these old buildings. I love imagining how people must have lived in them years ago. Sometimes they're like an archaeological site. You can see traces from long, long ago, mixed with signs that people have been here since then as well, trying to make something of it. I guess whoever was working on this place was bringing dozens of bottles of water up from the spring to try and fill this deposit. I don't know. You can see they did a bit of gardening and some building work too, until I guess they abandoned the project. This place was quite big and had a lot of old outbuildings as well, which I guess were animal pens and enclosures. You can really see why someone would have been attracted to this property. But seeing the work abandoned like this was a reminder of how hard it can be to get started taking on a property like this, especially up here where access is pretty poor and they had to bring all their water up from the valley. I remember when our house was just as rat infested and abandoned as this one. Well, maybe not quite as abandoned, but it was really interesting to have a snoop around and a good reminder of how far we'd come. If you go for a walk in the countryside, it's insane how many bits of old shoe you will find. Here's a bit, and this must be like the 10th bit I've passed today. And you know what it is? Apparently, it's foxes. They like to steal shoes and drag them places. Good morning. Maro is back from his most recent visit to the eye doctor, and everything is looking good.
It's doing better. It just feels like what I think must feel like to be punched in the eye really hard. It hurts like kind of around my nose and kind of behind the eye. It's like a very weird headache. I think this is week 4. I've been told that it's a really slow recovery. It's not something that heals fast, but it's as good as it can be, and I can do the normal life of an 80-year-old. So no heavy lifting apart from this boy, and just take it easy.
So I'm going to see what I can get done today. The first thing I'm going to do is uncover and add a load of manure to this pile of donkey manure. I think I need to get rid of this tarp because it's disintegrating and it's already starting to leave little strips in the compost, so yeah, this needs to go. Okay, that's all the compost moved and the compost pile turned. The funny thing is we've got loads of compost at the moment. We've got this pile which isn't ready yet, but I have got a full pile of human manure which is finished and ready to go on the garden. But the funny thing is we just don't have a garden at the moment or anything to use it on. Let me show you what the garden looks like right now because it's quite embarrassing. So as you can see, we didn't have a winter garden at all. The summer stuff is still in there and needs taking out, and everything is looking very sad and sorry for itself. On that note though, I did start a small project the other day. When I take all the summer stuff out, I wanted to be able to just chuck it straight to the chickens. And I've been doing that for a while and just chucking stuff in their run. But what happens is their run then starts looking kind of messy. And the other day I started a small project to just try and do this in a slightly better way. The water situation is far from perfect, but I have to say I'm definitely benefiting from some of the extra lines and irrigation pipes that I put in earlier this summer just to bring water to other areas where we didn't have it. It saves a long trip back to the water deposit every time I want to fill up watering cans. Now the chances that I can find some sort of tap to open or cap to take off the end of an irrigation line is much higher and it saves a lot of time. So I've got my drill and other bits and pieces, and today I'm going to try and finish the chicken compost box which I started the other day. I've basically been feeling really stuck with the garden, the state it's in, the mess it is. I need to take everything out from the summer and compost it, but a lot of stuff still has old fruit on, shriveled tomatoes and stuff like that, so I kind of wanted to also give this stuff to the chickens. What we've been doing for quite a long time is just chucking stuff into the chickens' run, but it's getting a bit messy in there and I just don't really like seeing all the compost on the floor. So what I want to do is create a little box so that we can chuck food scraps and composting material and stuff like that into this box for the chickens, so that they can hopefully learn to get into the box, scratch around in there, eat whatever they want, leave what they don't want, and we can add water to it to keep it nice and moist, turn it, and everything is like contained in a nice neat box and not scattered and scratched all over the ground. So that's what I'm creating here, just a simple structure of 4 posts in the corners and pallet wood along the sides, and I will dump into here garden waste that still has some edible fruit on it or leaves and things like that, which I think the chickens might enjoy scratching through and eating. And I think in the long run we'll add probably another bay, at least one extra bay to this, so that we've got one that's composting down and another one where we're adding fresh material. So I didn't get a chance to add the sides on the other day, so that's what I'm going to do now, and then I can get into the garden and start taking some of the summer stuff out, and hopefully that'll like unblock me in that sense, because I'm just feeling so stuck and not sure exactly where to start with the garden. Okay, I've got a bucket here of stuff from the garden. We've got lots of old grapes, tomatoes, lots of cabbage leaves and kale. I'm going to pop that in on top of a pile of manure, donkey manure, which I've just spread out along the bottom, and we're going to do a chicken test. Look, what's this? What's this? Grapes! Tomatoes! You want your friends? You want the rooster? Well, I'm not catching the rooster. Come on, come and help your friend. Come on. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see whether she gets the hang of it and whether any of her friends come and join her. Just want to see if all the material stays in or whether it goes flying everywhere, but we'll give them a bit of time and see what happens. I'm just thinking that as the pile gets higher, we might need to add more height to the sides. I wonder if there's a smart way of having like sides that can be easily added and removed depending on the height of the pile. Well, one thing at a time. First, let's see how this goes. Come on, come and join your friend. Come on. That's right, in you get. Yes, you can do it. Hey! You're still here. Are you stuck, or have you actually been out and got back in again? Do your hand? It's easy. Una, fuera. Hey, well done. So my plan for today is to build the little shelf here. I've got the bricks, I've got the long thing that goes across the top, and once that's built then we'll be able to continue with the grouting, or rather start the grouting down here. How did I not buy enough bricks? I thought I even bought extra bricks, but we're one short.
One short? Oh, I'm sure you can cut a brick.
Yeah, I know what I can do. I'm going to use this brick in 2 pieces. There we go. Having fun?
Yeah.
Got a bit of a gap here that I need to fill in. We've got plenty of rubble to do that with.
Been given this beard trimming machine by a follower. They must have felt like I really needed it, which I do.
They saw a need and they stepped up.
It's really good. It's a lot more powerful than the one that I have. So for the kind of shaving that I do, which is like closer to what you do to a sheep, it's good.
It's the next day. We're going to do the plastering and make this ugly shelf look a little bit nicer. way, I know I put the bricks on technically up the wrong way yesterday, if you noticed that. We decided to do that just because it gave us the height that we wanted, and it really doesn't matter. So if you're wondering why we did that, that's why. Okay, that's that part done. Now it just has to dry a bit so that I can come back and smooth it over with a damp sponge. But I'm just thinking about the top bit. I've got loads of sheets of these mosaic tiles left over from, I don't actually remember what I bought them for in the first place now, but we have put these mosaic tiles on a few places around the house just to kind of decorate a few little ledges and stuff like that. And we've got loads left, and I know they're not in the greatest condition, but some sheets are better than others, and I'm thinking that I've got enough sheets to lay them on the top of this little shelf thing, so I think I might do that. And I think I might not even bother using tile adhesive, because it's not like anyone's going to be like treading on these tiles and they're going to be getting knocked around and in danger of falling off. So I think I'm just going to put them straight on the plaster. I'm sure they'll stick, and I'm sure it'll be fine, and it saves me from having to come back and do another layer of adhesive another day. I can just get this done now. What do you think, Mal?
It just sounds wrong, but it could work. Give it a try.
Don't follow us for building advice. Or do, if it works. See you asleep?
Yep.
Wow, baby whisperer. Okay, just bear with me, trust the process. I'm going to come back and clean it up in 1 second, and it's going to look great. I've been trying really hard lately to use up materials that we've got instead of buying new materials, and also only to buy the materials that we need exactly for the project we're doing at this point in time, because we have a bad habit of buying more stuff than we need just in case, and that's why we live in a building site that's just full of odd bits and pieces left over from previous projects. So what I'm going to do is just try and use up this bag of plaster and finish off plastering a little bit of wall that we left a long time ago, which we never got around to finishing. There we go, that's the finished shelf. It turned out pretty much exactly as I was hoping for, so I'm pretty happy with it. What do you think?
That's great. Hopefully we'll be able to find boxes and make it like a nice storage shelf. What do you think of using the plaster as tile adhesive?
Well, the tiles are stuck down. Before I put the grouting on, some of them were a little bit loose, but now that the grouting's on, they're all pretty firmly stuck. But I would say don't recommend. Just use tile adhesive.
I don't think anyone was waiting for that recommendation. Everyone knew already not to do that. Can I show something funny?
Yeah.
Don't know how you did that.
Paint in my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought so. Well, if you're really in a pinch, plaster will probably be fine. Maro's shaking his head.
Stop justifying it. Just admit you're lazy and that's it.
Yeah. Am I lazy or am I a genius? Lost a sock. Always losing socks. Anyway, so that's been our January. It's been a bit of a write-off, and although we're kind of back on track again now, hopefully, we're both quite annoyed because it's the end of his paternity leave really, which has kind of been ruined, and we had lots of stuff planned. He spent the first couple of months like doing so much work on the house and not spending so much time with Santi because Santi needed me so much more. And we had some nice stuff planned for these last few weeks which we had to cancel, some family stuff and outings and visits, and we were just hoping that the last few weeks of his paternity leave we'd get the house done where we wanted to, and we could just enjoy those last few weeks before he went back to work doing the stuff that we'd kind of put off. So we're both sad that that didn't really happen, and yeah, we're kind of back on track and it is what it is. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there for that video. Thank you for watching and we will see you in the next one.